Hey, for Monday, July 27th, 2020, this is the one and only Pro and Con Show. And I am your host, Michael James Ott. Welcome to the show. So, yesterday was day 100 to the election. Obviously, today is day 99. Don't worry, I'm not going to count them down going forward. Just providing a little bit of continuity here. So today's show is called Interim. And we'll get to why that is in a moment, but again, reminder why the show. So encouraging us to be better citizens because we need to listen to each other, because the issues that are before us are more complex than 4 words on a hat or on a bumper sticker. Okay, they're fairly complex, and we as adults, as thinking, reasoning people, need to be concerned with and understand the pro and the con, the good and the bad, the for and against, and hence the Pro and Con Show. All right, so today's show is called Interim, and the reason why I'm doing the show and I have that title is because Mr. Trump is doing something, and he's done it his entire tenure in the presidency, but he's doing it more and more and more frequently. Because no one has called him to task over it. And that is that he is replacing various people in government, people that normally would be approved by the entire Senate of the United States, and he is replacing them with interim people. Now, this, in theory, wouldn't be that big of a problem if he was only doing this for 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks or a month or 2 months or whatever. But no, he's flaunting this measure, this allowance, if you will, in our rules that was intended to always just be a short-term gap-filling thing. So you'd have a cabinet member or something, and the cabinet member is supposed to be approved by the Senate, and the person that he's got doesn't like, so he gets rid of them and he appoints an interim person, and he just says that's the interim. They're the interim person, and then there's no urgency and no pressure from certainly Congress or the Senate. And I think one of the reasons why Trump gets away with some of this stuff with the interim stuff, and right now he went through and he fired a bunch of the internal inspector generals that are in the various areas of the government. Now, these are internal auditors, basically, the internal people that are supposed to be independent. I think they're typically in place for 10-year terms. So the idea is to cut across multiple administrations and stuff like that, and to be politically independent and be internal watchdogs on our government, and making sure that the various agencies aren't trying to do something in against the rules that we, the citizens, have over time set. And so what has he done? Well, he's gone through and unfortunately, because the assumption was that these people in these particular positions would be approved or confirmed by the Senate, there would be this review process. And so by definition, the president who is appointing these people or presenting them for the position would have to pick someone that would pass, kind of a public inspection. So they'd have to be qualified. They'd have experience in the area of whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing in government, and some history and experience in leadership, and there's a list of things that any of us, okay, any reasoning person would say, okay, I would have an expectation that the inspector general in this area or this department would, know these things. or have experience, or previous experience working as an assistant inspector general, whatever. But no, because of the interim basis, and because he never intends for these interim people to actually go through the process, and because really there's no way to force it. So he's discovered that there's this loophole, if you will, and if there's anybody that loves loopholes, it's Mr. Trump. He's discovered that there's kind of this loophole in government where, if you name an interim director or an interim inspector general, whatever, that person can act in that role, and they are fully empowered to act in that role indefinitely. And so he just leaves them as an interim basis, and he makes no attempt whatsoever to fix it, quote unquote fix it, because he's actually quite happy. He's able then to pick someone, and many of these people are grossly unqualified for the positions. And early in his administration, he attempted to appoint some of these people that were grossly unqualified for various positions, and before he realized that there was this loophole in our governing, where he could just name them on an interim basis and then name it and forget it, he would try to get some of these people through Congress, through the Senate, and there was all kinds of stoppages of some of these folks, because the people in the Senate are like, hey, you're Donald Trump, you're a Republican, we are too, but we're not going to put this person that has zero experience and is known to be mentally unstable. We're not going to put him in that role. No, no, go back to the drawing board, get somebody else. And so he just started, and he started with a chief of staff for a long time, and the director of the FBI, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Now there's no limit. There's really no limit. And the only person that the last person that actually went through the process to be approved by the Senate was the current Attorney General, William Barr. And William Barr said, well, you can count on me to be a steadfast supporter of the Constitution and the limits of the Constitution on the various institutions, including the presidency. Well, turns out Mr. Barr was lying. So he went to those hearings and whatnot, and he lied. And now he is the presidential attorney, and acts solely in Mr. Trump's behalf, I'm sure, because he in turn is getting significant compensation in one form or another. And since now the Attorney General of the United States and is in place, and the Senate again, just a slight majority of Republicans with no stomach whatsoever to do anything about Mr. Trump, certainly not impeach him, and certainly with only 100 days to go to the election, why bother? So hence we have all of this, all these interim things, and so Mr. Trump has scattered interim managers, directors, inspector generals throughout government, throughout the federal government, that are just his boys, his cronies. And that's especially dangerous if he does win re-election. Then those people will stay in place, and the infection, the corruption, and everything will just continue to spread unabated at that point. So anyway, the name of the show, Interim, and this is what it's done, is having Mr. Trump actually has exposed some serious holes that we have in our governing. So one of them is this interim status. There should be rules around it. Who and who cannot be appointed in an interim status, and for how long they can stay that way. So we need some rules around that. So Congress needs to act to fix that loophole. And what else was I going to say? Well, it's not coming to me, so I'll cover it on another show, I'm sure. All right. So this has been the Pro and Con Show. I'm your host, Michael James Ott. And until the next show, bye for now.